Time to reading the Buddha Sutra. This is the Yuanjue Jing in Chinese version. I have read it for weeks. In Chinese version, there are in total 12 chapters. I got an English version. The friends who have the interest in Buddha Sutra, we can read together. This is English version, 12 chapters. 12 chapters, each chapter for one Bodhisattva. The name of the sutra is called the Sutra of Complete Enlightenment, translated from the Chinese Buddha by Van Guogu Bihu Shu. Shi Wan Complete Enlightenment, Boston and London, translated in year 1999. Thus I have heard at one time the paths of spiritual penetration. This is the samadhi in which all Tathagatas brightly and majestically abide. It is the ground of the pure enlightenment of all sentient beings. The Bhagavan's body and mind were in the state of quiescent extinction, where past, present, and future are intrinsically equal and identical, and his completeness filled all 10 directions and was in accord with everything without duality. From within this condition of non-duality, he caused various pure lines to appear. The Bhagavan was accompanied by 100,000 great Bodhisattvas and Mahasattvas. Chief among them were Bodhisattva Manjusri, Bodhisattva Samatthahadra, Bodhisattva of Universal Vision, Bodhisattva Vajragaha, Bodhisattva Maitreya, Bodhisattva of Pure Wisdom, Bodhisattva at ease in majestic virtue, Bodhisattva of sound discernment, Bodhisattva cleansed of all karmic obstructions, Bodhisattva of universal almost in virtue and goodness. Together with their retinues, they all entered samadhi, abiding in the Tathagata's Dhamma assembly of impartial equality. Bodhisattva Manjusri. Thereupon, Bodhisattva Manjusri rose from his seat in the midst of the assembly, prostrated himself at the feet of the Buddha, circled the Buddha 3 times to the right, knelt down, joined his palms, and said, "O world-honored one of great compassion, please expound to multitude who have come to this assembly the Tathagata's Dhamma practice of the original arising purity of the causal ground. Please also expound to us how Bodhisattvas initiate this state of pure mind within the Mahayana and leave all illness, so that sentient beings in the future Dhamma ending age, as per to the Mahayana, will not fall into erroneous views." Having said these words, he prostrated himself on the ground and made the same request 3 times, each time repeating the same procedure. At that time, the world-honored one said to the Bodhisattva Manjusri, "Excellent, excellent, virtuous man. For the benefit of the multitude of Bodhisattvas, you have asked about Tathagata's Dhamma practice of the causal ground. For the benefit of all sentient beings in the Dhamma ending age, who as per to Mahayana, you ask how they can attain correct abiding and not fall into erroneous views. Listen attentively now. I shall explain it to you." Hearing this, Bodhisattva Manjusri was filled with joy and listened silently along with the assembly. "Virtuous man, The Supreme Dharma King possesses the method of the great Dharani called complete enlightenment, after which emanates pure true suchness, Bodhi, and Nirvana, as well as the paramitas to teach Bodhisattvas. The original arising purity, a causal ground of the Tathagatas, relies on the complete illumination of intrinsic enlightenment, which is pure in essence and permanently free from ignorance. Only then do the Tathagatas accomplish the Buddha path. What is ignorance? Since beginningless time, all sentient beings have had all sorts of delusions, like a disoriented person who has lost his sense of the direction. They mistake the four great elements as the attributes of their bodies, and the conditioned impressions of the six subjects as the attributes of their minds. They are like a man with an illness of the eyes who sees an illusory flower in the sky or a second moon. Virtuous man, there's in reality no flower in the sky, yet the sick man mistakenly clings to it. Because of his mistaken clinging, he's not only deluded about the intrinsic nature of the empty space, but also confused about the arising of the power. Because of this false existence to which he clings, he remains in the turning wheel of birth and death. Hence, this is called ignorance. Virtuous man, this ignorance has no real substance. It is like a person in a dream. Though the person exists in the dream, when the dreamer awakens, there's nothing that can be grasped. Like an illusory flower in the sky that vanishes into empty space, one cannot say there is a fixed place from which it vanishes. Why? Because there's no place from which it arises. Amidst the on horizon, all sentient beings deludedly perceive birth and extinction. Hence, this is called the turning wheel of birth and death. Virtuous man, one who practices complete enlightenment of the causal ground of the Tathagata, realizes that birth and extinction are like an illusory flower in the sky. Thus, there's no continuance of birth and death, and nobody or mind that is subject to birth and death. This non-existence of birth and death, and the body and the mind, is so not as a consequence of contrived effort, it is so by its intrinsic nature. The awareness of their non-existence is like empty space. That which is aware of the empty space is like the appearance of the illusory flower. However, one cannot say that the nature of this awareness is non-existent. Eliminating both existence and non-existence is in accordance with pure enlightenment. Why is it so? Because the nature of this space is ever unmoving. Likewise, there's neither arising nor perishing within the Tathagata Gaha. It is free from conceptual knowledge and views, like the nature of Dhamma Hadu, which is ultimate, wholly complete, and pervades all 10 directions. Such is the Dhamma practice of the Tathagata of the causal ground. Because of this intrinsic completeness, Bodhisattva within the Mahayana may give rise to pure Bodhi mind. If sentient beings in the Dharma ending age practice accordingly, they will not fall into erroneous views. At that time, the world-honored one, wishing to clarify his meaning, proclaimed these gathas. Manjusri, you should know that all Tathagatas from their original arising causal ground, use wisdom to enlighten and penetrate ignorance, realizing that ignorance is like a flower in the sky. They are thus liberated from the continuance of birth and death. Like a person in a dream who cannot be found when the dreamer awakens, awareness is like empty space. It is impartial and equal and ever unmoving. When enlightenment pervades all 10 directions, the Buddha path is accomplished. There's no place where illusion vanishes, and there's no attainment in accomplishing the Buddha path. For the intrinsic nature is already wholly complete. By this, Bodhisattva can give rise to the Bodhi mind. Sentient beings in the Dharma ending age, through this practice, will avoid erroneous views. The first chapter. So it's the question Manjusri and Buddha, and how Buddha answered Manjusri about what is the causal ground, how to get rid of the ignorance, to get the wisdom. If you have interest to read it, okay, you can check on the website. There's the English version about this sutra. It's called Complete Enlightenment Sutra. In Chinese, it's called 圆觉经. Thank you. Amitofo. See you time. May you have a peaceful day and night. Bye bye.